What do we have here? It's a guest blade on the TheApostleP channel, and it's in one of our favorite things, the black and red and silver and gold box from Spyderco, and it is the C192 TIP, the PITS folder from Spyderco. Stick around, guys. We'll take a look inside and see what we got. Hi gang, Rob here. It's the evening of 25 May 2014, and yes, we have this sort of rare, kind of interesting Spyderco Pits folder in the house for you. Let's just check it out, shall we? Here's the knife. Don't much need the box. And it's pretty cool. Spyderco seems to be on a tear in recent years, producing non-locking, Europe legal folding knives, and some pretty interesting ones and some really well made ones. We have the UK PK series. There's a Jens Anso design. Can't remember the name of that little guy. Toad Sticker has one, or had one. And this knife is a collaboration between British part-time knife designer and full-time marine engineer Mike Reed, spells it R-E-A-D. I believe it's pronounced Reed. And he likes to make non-locking folders, and this one, the Spyderco Pits, PITS, is modeled after Mike's custom knife, the Pie in the Sky model. So that is where we get that acronym PITS, Pie in the Sky. And let's take a look at this rather expensive offering. I think the MSRP is like $399. You won't pay that for it. They run anywhere between, if you get lucky, you can find them for about $180. They'll run all the way up to about $250. This particular one is nearly new in box. Just got a couple little scratches underneath the clip just from it moving sideways, as the wire clip is prone to do. This one belongs to my buddy Patrick. You guys on YouTube or Instagram know him as Aiden's Daddy 1733, or now on Instagram as Sharp Dad 33. This knife is actually for sale. At the end of the video, I will give you the info regarding that. He sent it to me to do a review and sort of help him sell the knife. He's got some pretty cool things going on in his life right now that are expensive and needs to move some metal. So we'll help him do that if we can. So let's look at what we got here, guys. Kind of looks like a cross between a Paramilitary 2 and a Sage, doesn't it? Here's the specs. Overall length 7.16 inches. Closed length or handle length 4.16. Blade length 2.97 inches. The thickness of the handle is 0.39 inches. Blade stock is 120 thousandths. Blade crafted of Böhler Udelholm N690 CO, which is a Böhler steel, martensitic in nature, lots of chromium, very stainless, a little bit of vanadium. Some guys say it performs a lot like VG10. My experience with it is it performs better than VG10. Takes a super keen edge, super high polish without too much work. It isn't quite as susceptible to rolling as VG10, and it likes to be really thin. And Spyderco's maker in Maniago, Italy, whose name sort of remains a mystery. I don't think this is a Lion Steel produced knife. Just looking at the way the fasteners are executed, and I don't see Lion Steel anywhere etched or written, even way back in the G10 backspacer. Don't know who makes this one, but it's made in Maniago. It does feel like it is on Teflon washers. I'm not taking it apart to find out, but it feels very hydraulic. The scales are crafted of titanium and interestingly finished. We'll get into that as the review goes on. We do have Spyderco's distinctive deep carry wire paperclip clip. And as I said, the backspacer is G10. Some Mayo-esque lightening holes, also for aesthetics, I believe, that are chamfered, and the chamfers are polished, contrasting against this very fine satin finish on the flats of the handles and sort of an orange peel on these front chamfers. So here's how the knife works. You got a blade tang with a notch in it. See if I can get a good shot of that. And we've got this bar or set of bars fashioned out of the titanium scales, just a big cut, producing these big sort of torsion bar springs connected by a pin that snaps into that notch in the blade tang and gives us a very firm open position, much like a slip joint, but with a little more of a positive detent, I guess you would say. Unlike many Spyderco slippets, which feature a 50-50 choil in front that let you break the knife, off its full open position without cutting yourself, this one has like a finger guard, almost like a flipper would produce, although it is not a flipper. That finger guard does protrude slightly from the spine, but you're not gonna open the knife with that. That torsion bar actually locks into another little divot in the blade tang to give us closed retention. Knife is easily opened with one hand, but I will say this, it's going to take some practice and a lot of wrist if you think you're going to thumb flick this knife open. Well, there, it did it easier than it had been for me, but well, maybe it doesn't take much wrist if you practice it. But it takes a pretty good authoritative flick if you're going to do it. Then, guys, hard as things are on camera, that's really the first time I've been able to consistently flick this knife open with my thumb. Don't plan on that. I think it's really basically a sweep deployment. See how that blade centering looks. Oh, it's pretty doggone good. So it's an EDC knife and it's pretty lightweight. I didn't give you the weight, but I think it's just about 3 ounces. Doggone it, I hate that. I think we need to grab the scale. So let's just weigh it, shall we? I guess we'll call it 3.3 ounces. That's pretty svelte, I think, for an all-metal knife, don't you think? So we know it's a slip joint or a variation of a slip joint. We'll call it a non-locking but securely opening folder with a blade shape that looks like a shortened paramilitary tube blade, that Spyderco clip point they call it, and a handle that looks a lot like a sage. So it's sort of like a sage with a clip or a short paramilitary tube. All good things, I must say. Ergonomically, the knife is, in that saber grip, it's just beautiful. A very generous, just over 4-inch handle. Thumb ramp non-jimped, doesn't need to be, just an EDC knife. And the draw cut grip, again, super good. And the hammer grip, excellent. In reverse grip, not that you'd probably ever use this for any kind of stabbing or slashing of an opponent, but it's pretty comfortable in all grips, especially for an all-metal handle. You're not really ever going to come forward because this is some awkward stuff down here, including a cutting edge. One thing I wanted to talk about, I said that this N690 CO likes to be thin. Whoever made this in Maniago got that. Just 19 thousandths thick behind the edge. And although it's not the prettiest edge to look at I've ever seen, if you can catch that, lots of tool chatter and that secondary bevel. What looks like a soft wheel polished final cutting edge. You know, it's not bad. It is sharp, I will say that. Super, super, super sharp. Cutting the catalog paper, I think it does better than that if I get the angle right. There we go. Yeah. Pretty doggone sharp for a factory edge. And I've carried this and used it for a few days just so I would be able to give you guys an adequate picture of the knife. Not going to see superb edge retention. I think better than VG10. Not quite 154 cm, I guess. Handsome devil, isn't it? The blade finish is kind of I would call it a grinder satin. Nicely done. The laser etching's beautiful. Spyderco's normal issues at the base of the edge with that 90-degree plunge, and if I sharpened it, it would be nicer looking than that when I got done. Not that that's necessarily a problem. I'm going to show you guys these. Oh, there we go. There's a good shot of the chamfers around those holes. Just a handsome knife. It's pretty much satin everywhere except the holes, and then that beautiful little chamfer which aids in that sort of overhand pinch grip. Some aesthetic issues that the knife has. If you notice, the hand rub satin on the flats kind of bleeds over into that orange peel chamfer a little bit, which I don't love that. They could have taken a little more time to get that right. And another area that's a little interesting is a little bit of tool chatter on these edges of the handle. Can you see that? I suppose we could say they did it on purpose, like a Wilkins grip backspacer, but I don't think they did. And that same sort of highly polished or orange peel chamfer between the satin on the spine and the satin on the flats. A neat knife, a really neat knife. 13 millimeter Spidey hole, not the super large one like the Paramilitary 2 has at 14. The break is positive, and if you have that knife, let's say in an overhand grip and like a hammer grip, it gets pretty hard to disengage that blade, especially if you have your thumb. You know, it's not exactly a hand-locking knife, I wouldn't say, but it's definitely a knife you can work with for most normal cutting tasks and never have to worry about folding on your hand. I really kind of like it. I don't know how long this one's going to be around. I think it's really designed for the European market. I don't think you're going to see too many of these in the States. You know, if you're kind of a Sage fan, but you want something a little different, and that locking mechanism isn't super important to you, this might be your knife. It's a great little EDC blade. Strong, sturdy, 3.3 ounces, 3-inch blade. Super great slicer. Be awesome. An awesome daily food prep knife for your lunch or whatever. Pretty cool. Anyway, I said this one's going to be for sale, and it is. Price is $160 shipped Anywhere in the continental United States, priority mail, small flat rate box. As usual, the way we sell knives on this channel is the first email to my personal email account saying I'll take it will receive an answer from me asking for payment after I send you that return email asking for payment to the PayPal account of the same address as that personal email. After 30 minutes, your payment needs to be there or you'll go to the back of the line. So yes, 30 minutes after receiving my confirmation email, you must pay $160 US. That is friends and family, add 3.5% if you're using goods and services. And then we can help Patrick fund the rest of his adult life with this little purchase. That email address, rob.bixby65@yahoo.com, rob.bixby65@yahoo.com. Let's help a brother out, shall we? If we don't get any takers, I might just have to send him money myself. Hey, that's all for tonight, my friends. Grace to you and peace from God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ. And thank the Lord for all those servicemen and women who gave their lives in defense of American freedom. And thank you if you are their families. Thank you for the sacrifice you have made, and we are sorry for your loss. Know that their deaths were not in vain. May God continue to bless our nation, and may our nation deserve his blessing. That's all for tonight, guys. Talk to you soon.